Money, a currency that has both enriched and corrupted our world, has driven some individuals to commit unspeakable evils in its pursuit. From the bloody trails of murder for hire to dark corners of human trafficking, the lengths some people have gone for financial gain are a sobering reminder of the power and influence of money on our society. On the flip side, money as a tool for exchange and reward has inspired many people to accomplish incredible feats of innovation, philanthropy, and progress. From life-saving medical research to groundbreaking technological advancements, the pursuit of financial gain has often been the driving force behind human ingenuity and creativity. And when used for good, money has also facilitated countless acts of generosity, charity, and kindness, a testament to its potential to inspire compassion and positive change in our world. Has this always been the case from the beginning of time? In this video, I'll be discussing the evolution of money. Money, as we know it today, is the result of a long and complex evolution that has spanned centuries and crossed countless cultures and civilizations. From the early days of bartering goods and services to the sophisticated financial systems of the modern era, money has played a pivotal role in shaping the course of human history. While the origins of money are shrouded in mystery, it is widely believed that it emerged as a means of exchange to facilitate trade and commerce. The early forms of money emerged from the need to exchange goods and services in an efficient manner. Before the advent of currency, people used a system of bartering where they exchanged goods and services directly with each other. For example, a farmer would exchange his crops for the services of a blacksmith, and this system worked well in small communities, but it was limited by the need for a double coincidence of wants. What is a double coincidence of wants? The double coincidence of wants is a situation in barter exchange where two parties each possess something that the other desires, and both parties are willing to exchange their goods or services for the other's goods or services. In other words, for a trade to occur between two parties, each must have a good or a service that the other wants at the same time. For example, if a farmer wants to trade his wheat for a tailor's clothes, a double coincidence of wants would occur if the tailor also wants the wheat at the same time the farmer wants the clothes. If the tailor instead wants eggs and the farmer doesn't have any, then a double coincidence of wants does not exist, and the trade cannot take place without a third party or a medium of exchange, like money. In the early days, a third party would be used to solve the problem of lack of double coincidence of wants. What I'm trying to say is this: when people want to trade things with each other, sometimes they might not have something that the other person wants in return, so they might need to involve a third party. This third party, called an intermediary, would help them make the trade happen. The intermediary is like a helper who can find someone else who wants what the first person has and has something that the second person wants. This way, both people can get what they want without having to find someone who exactly wants what they have to offer. For example, imagine I have a toy car and you have a doll. Let's assume that I want you to give me the doll in exchange for my toy car. But then you are not interested in having my toy car because you already have a toy car. This simply means that there is no double coincidence of wants. So to solve this, what I do is I go ahead and ask another friend who has a book if they are willing to trade or exchange their book for my toy car. If this other friend of mine agrees to trade his book for my toy car, I then proceed with exchanging or trading my toy car for the book, and thereafter I bring the book to you and ask you to accept the book in exchange for that doll. If you agree, then this means that the trade will have happened because of the presence of the intermediary. and the intermediary in this case is the other friend of mine who had the book. Intermediaries can be really helpful in making sure everyone gets what they want, even if they don't have something the other person wants directly. And that's how people in the barter trade system used intermediaries to deal with the double coincidence of wants problem. The most significant method used to overcome the double coincidence of wants, however, has been the introduction of currency. Currency, such as coins, banknotes, or digital currency, serves as a universally accepted medium of exchange that can be used to trade goods and services with greater ease. Currency eliminates the need for a double coincidence of wants because it provides a common unit of value that is accepted by everyone in the economy. The earliest forms of currency date back thousands of years to ancient civilizations in various parts of the world. Here are some examples of early forms of currency and the time periods and communities in which they were used. Commodity money. This was used in many ancient civilizations, including Egypt, Greece, and Rome. Precious metals such as gold, silver, and bronze were used as a medium of exchange in trade. Commodity money was valuable because it was rare and difficult to obtain, and it had inherent value due to its usefulness in making jewelry and other objects. Cowrie shells. This form of currency was used in many parts of Asia, Africa, and Oceania from around 1200 BC to the 19th century. Cowrie shells were considered valuable because they were rare and beautiful, and they were used as a decoration as well as a currency. Beads. Many centuries used beads made from a variety of materials as form of currency. Beads were valued for their beauty and were often used in jewelry or other decorative items. Beads were used in ancient civilizations such as the Roman Empire, and they continue to be used as currency in some cultures today. Salt. Salt was a valuable commodity in many ancient societies and was used as a form of currency in some regions. For example, Roman soldiers were sometimes paid in salt, which is where the term salary comes from. Salt was also used as a currency in some parts of Africa and Asia. Feathers. In some cultures, feathers from exotic birds were used as currency. These feathers were highly valued for their beauty and rarity, and were often used in ceremonial headdresses and other decorative items. Feathers were used as a currency by various indigenous cultures. As trade became more complex and widespread, people developed new forms of currency to make transactions more convenient. For example, coins were developed in ancient Greece, and they were widely used in many parts of the world by the time paper money was introduced. People used coins made of precious metal like gold and silver to buy things they needed. The challenge with these special coins was that sometimes they were heavy to carry around. So to avoid these coins being carried around, merchants would keep their coins safe in a special place called a bank, and the bank would give them a paper note in exchange. The paper notes banks used to give people that represented how much gold they had in the bank are called banknotes or promissory notes. These were essentially promises from the bank that they would give the depositor a certain amount of gold or other precious metal in exchange for the paper note. These paper notes were sometimes called IOUs. IOU stands for I owe you. It is a written or verbal promise to pay someone back at a later time. In the context of banking, IOUs are similar to banknotes or promissory notes. When people deposited their gold or other valuable items with a bank, they would receive a paper IOU in exchange. The IOU represented a promise from the bank to return the depositor's valuable items upon request. As time went on, people stopped going to the bank to exchange their banknotes with coins, but instead they started using the promissory notes as a medium of exchange for goods and services. It was easier that way, and the banks had a lot of coins to keep track of, so they were okay with it. Take note that these banknotes, or call them the promissory notes or the IOUs, had the value of coins attached to them. And as time went on, this ushered in what we call the gold standard. The gold standard was a system where the value of money was directly tied to the value of gold. This meant that for every paper money in circulation, there was a certain amount of gold held in reserve to back it up. This made money more stable and reliable because people knew that their money could always be exchanged for a certain amount of gold. However, during the Great Depression in the 1930s, many countries found that they didn't have enough gold to back up all the money in circulation. This led to a shortage of money, which made the depression even worse. In response, many countries began to abandon the gold standard and adopt a new system called fiat money. Fiat money is not backed by gold or any other commodity, but rather by the government's promise to pay its debts. This means that central banks can print as much money as they want without being constrained by the amount of gold they have in their reserves. The United States officially ended the gold standard in 1971 under President Richard Nixon. The decision was made because the United States had spent a lot of money on the Vietnam War and had to print more dollars than it had gold to back them up. Other countries followed suit and also moved away from the gold standard. The shift away from the gold standard allowed countries to have more flexibility in their monetary policy and made it easier for central banks to manage the money supply during times of economic crisis. However, it also meant that the value of money is now based on the confidence in government's ability to manage the economy and control inflation. Over time, the creation and management of money became increasingly sophisticated, with governments and financial institutions assuming control over the supply and regulation of currency. Today, digital currencies like Bitcoin are challenging the traditional notions of money, offering new and innovative ways to exchange value and conduct transactions. The evolution from physical currency to digital currency has been a gradual process that has taken place over decades. In the 1970s and 80s, the first electronic funds transfer (EFT) systems were developed, allowing banks to exchange financial transactions electronically. This made it possible for people to use plastic cards to make purchases instead of physical currency. The first digital currency, Bitcoin, was created in 2009. It is a decentralized digital currency that uses encryption techniques to secure transactions and control the creation of new units. Since then, other digital currencies or cryptocurrencies have emerged, each with their own unique features and characteristics. Digital currencies offer several advantages over physical currency, such as faster and cheaper transactions, greater security, and increased privacy. However, they also pose new challenges and risks, such as volatility, regulatory uncertainty, and the potential for fraud and hacking. As more people and businesses adopt digital currencies, it is likely that they will continue to evolve and become more integrated in our daily lives, changing the way we think about and use money. However, with the rise of money also came its darker side, the pursuit of wealth and financial gain at any cost. The history of money is littered with examples of greed, corruption, and exploitation as individuals and institutions have sought to amass wealth and power through unethical means. Ultimately, the evolution of money reflects the complex and often contradictory nature of the human society, a potent force for both progress and corruption, innovation and exploitation. As we continue to navigate the changing landscape of money and finance, it is crucial to remain mindful of its potential to inspire both good and bad, and also to strive for a more just and equitable distribution of wealth and resources. Do you think cryptocurrencies, a decentralized form of currency, will replace the traditional forms of currency? Let me know what you think in the comment section below. My name is Arnold, and this is Kisembo Stories.